Hello there, students. Thank you for being part of this presentation. Today we're looking at U.S. government, and we're actually going to be focusing on Unit 2, which is branches and levels of government, and we are going to specifically focus on the tutorial for the executive branch. Please make sure to remember that it is best if you are taking notes as you are reviewing this tutorial, as you are reviewing all the links that the tutorial gives you in order to give you or provide you more information about the content. So make sure that you are taking notes, make sure that you are putting your best effort in order to be successful and in order to answer all of the questions that you will encounter in this tutorial. And the objective for this tutorial is that you will examine the structures and powers of the executive branch. The executive branch, by the way, is the President of the United States. Let's move on. We're now on page 14 of the executive branch tutorial, which is the lesson activity, which is terms, qualifications, and elections. And the directions say, read the instructions for this self-check activity, type in your response to each question, and check your answer. At the end of the activity, write a brief evaluation of your work. Now we need to read this part here so we'll know what we need to do. The activity. The President of the United States is elected by a complicated system known as the Electoral College. The system has been the subject of numerous criticisms throughout its history. In principle, people object that the election of the President is not based on the total number of individual voters who supported the candidate, known as popular vote, and instead is based on the electoral votes, which are assigned to each state based on population. Issues with the system were highlighted during the 2000 election, which pitted Governor George W. Bush against Vice President Al Gore. This election was so close that one state, Florida, became the deciding factor in the election. Read about how the Electoral College affects the 2000 election and then review Bush v. Gore Supreme Court case. By the way, in order for you to answer the questions that you will encounter here, you need to click on the Electoral College link here because it will give you a lot of information. By the way, when you do that, make sure you're taking notes as you're reading. Don't just read for the sake of reading, as you will miss a lot of the points that are being made there. And also you need to read the Supreme Court case, Bush v. Gore in this case. Let's move on to part A. According to the first resource, how did the Electoral College vote compare with the popular vote in the 2000 election? How might this illustrate an issue with the Electoral College? Please remember that the Electoral College is basically how we select or elect our president in this case. And it has its flaws. In this case, in the United States, unfortunately, for the most part, the candidate that gets the most vote does not win all the time. And this is as a result of the Electoral College. So some people ask, so are we a true democracy? Because in a democracy, popular vote wins. And in this case, it doesn't happen all the time. So make sure that you are providing a good answer here. You need to have a good paragraph here, at least 5 solid sentences. Part B. Summarize the ideas in the second article about why Florida had to recount its votes and what the immediate result of this recount was. Again, you need to go back here. We have 2 links basically, the Electoral College link and then you have the Bush v. Gore link. You have to go back to those resources and answer these questions. We need at least a good solid paragraph, not 1 sentence, not 2 sentences, but a good solid paragraph, please. Part C is asking, what was the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling in Bush v. Gore and what was the basis for its decision? Again, you have to go back and read that. By the way, the final outcome was that Mr. Bush actually won the election because of the decision that the Supreme Court made. But now you need to be able to explain how that went or how that was actually done. And part D is telling you, why do you think the election or in the election of 2000 caused a controversy regarding the Electoral College? What issues would that debate include? Please make sure, based on your reading of the material, the content, and also based on the information provided to you in this tutorial and the previous pages, Please make sure you answer this question to the best of your ability. And I'm sure you will do well. Just make sure that you are providing enough information for your teacher to know that you are comprehending the content. We are now on page 24 of the executive branch tutorial, and this activity is fairly simple. You're given this box here with the executive branch image here, and then you are given also other branches here. You have the Congress, the Supreme Court image here, and all you're doing is you're moving these tiles here into one of these categories. For example, the executive branch, we know that it enforces the laws that are passed by Congress. So all you do is you plug in those tiles here where they belong, and that should take care of this activity. If you're unsure about something, please either research online or go back to this tutorial and you will have the answer. We are now on page 39 of the executive branch tutorial, and this is another lesson activity, which is organizing the executive branch. Make sure you read the directions as to what you need to do. And let me read this part here so we'll know what to do here for this particular activity. It says, each branch of government has a clear hierarchy for its organizations. Review what the lesson says about the structure of the executive branch and create a graphic organizer to show how the branch is organized. Make sure to include all the individual departments within the branch. Create the organization map using presentation software such as Microsoft PowerPoint or Google Documents. Make sure that you follow close or pay close attention to what it's telling you here, and make sure that you are able to present either through a visual format with in this case, a Microsoft PowerPoint or a Google Documents, and make sure you outline how basically the executive branch is organized. You know, you have the president, who's below the president, the State Department, Department of Education, and so many departments. And please make sure that you are following all of the directions here. If for some reason you do not have Microsoft PowerPoint, or you do not know how to use Google Documents, please make sure that you provide the explanation here so that the teacher, in this case you need to write it, so that the teacher will know exactly that you are understanding what you're being asked to do here, and you are understanding how in this case, the executive branch is actually divided and which department goes where. And this brings an end to this activity, and make sure that you continue to put your best effort in order to be successful. You have a good one.